Hi everyone, you're welcome back to my channel today. Thank you so much for stopping by. In my last video we drafted out the pattern for this corset top with Basque waistline. If you've not seen the tutorial, I'm going to leave the link in the comment section, so go ahead and watch that tutorial before you come join us on this one. It's going to help you understand better. So after drafting out my pattern, I went ahead to place my pattern on my fabric and I added my stitching allowance all the way around. I also went ahead to cut out the same thing on my lining piece and I ironed hair stay to the front of my fabric. So I've gone ahead to cut on my lining exactly as it is on my fabric, and I also went ahead to label my lining. So after doing that, guys, this is my front piece. Remember, your front piece should be on fold. I went ahead to iron hair stay on it and I also ironed hair stay to my cups. So what we are going to do is to work on the front piece first. As you can see on the thumbnail, a bias was used to create the star line in form of a design, and is also going to serve as a channel for our boning. What you use to create your own star line is dependent on the wideness of your boning. So what I'll do is to place my tape on the basque area and I'll measure what I have. I'll divide it into 2 equal halves. I'll also place my tape like this and I'll divide there into 2 equal halves because I want to get a straight line. So I'm going to place my ruler like this and I'll rule a straight line. So just go ahead and work your way around this. Wherever you want to place your boning, wherever you want to create your star line, however you want to do it, go ahead and determine that. For me, I'm going to create straight lines on the middle of the cup. I'll also go ahead and work my way around it. Okay, so go ahead and determine the wideness of your boning before you know what to use to create your star line. So the bias I'll be using is about half an inch wide and my boning is 1/4 inch. So what I'll do now is to head over to my sewing machine and I'll place my bias on all the lines that I've created, and I'll sew 2 straight stitches on it, making sure that the space that I'll be leaving in the bias is wide enough for my boning to pass through. So I've gone ahead to do that, guys, and this is what I have. Okay, so what I'm going to do is to work on the cups. So for the cups, I have the center front and the side front. So what I'll do is label on my fabric so I don't get confused. After labeling, I'm going to take one center front and one side front. So go ahead and notch the center so you know where to sew. I'll place them together right sides like this, and I'll use the half-inch allowance that I added on the side to sew it. I'll also go ahead and repeat the same thing for this other piece. I'll label the side front and the center front. Like I said, go ahead and label the center so you know where to sew. I'll go ahead and sew with the half-an-inch allowance that I left, and I'm going to iron the seam open. I'll also repeat the same thing for my lining piece. Remember, I cut out my lining piece the same way I cut my fabric. So what I'll do is to label the lining piece also, and I'm going to place them together like this, and then I'll go ahead and sew. After sewing, guys, I went ahead to iron the seam allowance open, just like you can see. I also repeated the same process for the lining piece. So guys, for this tutorial I'll be making use of this ready-made bra cup. So I'll go ahead and place my bra cup in this fabric and see if it's going to sit perfectly. So the bra cup is in the fabric and it's okay, but it's going to be difficult for me to stitch down because it's not covering all the sides. So what I'm going to do is to take that on my bra cup. I'm going to fold it like this and I'll just take small darts. I'll repeat the same thing for the other cup. Okay, so guys, I've gone ahead to take in my darts and you can see how the bra cup is standing. So what I'm going to do is fix the bra cup in the fabric again, and this is what I have. So you can see that I have allowance on the sides of the fabric. So the next thing I'll do is to go ahead and make this bra cup look like a 3-part corset, which is not okay. So I'm going to use my bias to design the cup area, what I'll do is to place my tape like this, and I'll go down by 2.5 inches. On the center, I'll also place my tape and I'll go down by 2.5 inches. I'll connect the two dots. On this other end, I'll go down by 2.5 inches. I'll connect the three dots together like this. After doing that, I'm going to bring in my bias, and I'm going to head over to my sewing machine. I'll place this bias like this. I'll sew on both ends of the bias. I'll also place the bias on this center joining that I have on the fabric, and I'll also run 2 straight stitches on the side. I'll repeat the same thing for the other part of the cup. So guys, I've gone ahead to do that, and this is what I have. So guys, next thing I'll do is to bring in my front piece, and I'm going to fix the fabric in the cup area. Before I do that, remember we left half an inch allowance all around the cup area to sew our cup in place. So I'm going to place my tape like this, and I'll mark the half an inch all the way around this cup area. After doing that, I'm going to go ahead and pin my fabric on the cup area, and I'll go ahead and sew. After sewing, I'll iron the seam open. So I've gone ahead to sew the cup in place, guys, and this is what it looks like on the outside and on the inside. I'll bring in my bra cup, and I'm going to fix it in this cup area like this, as you can see. So instead of sewing around this bra cup, what I'm going to do is to hold this bra cup down using my hemming gum. Okay, so this is a new trick that I learned, and it works really well. So I'm going to go ahead and remove my hemming gum, and I'll place enough hemming gum inside this fabric. Okay, place enough hemming gum inside your fabric. After doing that, I'll bring in my cup. I'll place my cup in the cup area like this, and I'm going to place this cup on my tailor's arm. So I'll place it like this. I'll use my hot iron to melt the hemming gum down. That way the bra cup is going to stick to your fabric. So make sure you put in enough hemming gum in the fabric. So guys, I've gone ahead to do that. You can see that the bra cup is sticked with the fabric, and that is what we want. So add enough hemming gum. Okay, so this is what it looks like on the outside, guys. So the next thing you do is to go ahead and sew your lining piece exactly how you have sewn your fabric. Okay, for the back, I went ahead to create just one boning channel using my bias, and this is what I have. I didn't iron and stay to the back. So what I'm going to do is to join the front and the back piece together. So I'm going to go ahead and place them right sides facing right sides, just like you see me doing. After placing them together, I'll go ahead and sew using the stitching allowance that I left on the side. So I'll go ahead and sew. After sewing, guys, this is what I have. Okay, like I said before, go ahead and sew your lining piece the same way that you've sewn your fabric. I went ahead to sew my lining piece, and this is what I have. What I'm going to do is to place the lining piece on the main fabric like this, right sides facing right sides. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and pin just the upper part of this fabric. So I'll pin the upper part all the way to the end. After pinning, I'll go ahead and sew. After sewing, I'll go ahead, you can either top stitch or use your hemming gum to hold the fabric and the lining down. Okay, so I went ahead to sew. After sewing, I placed my hemming gum inside the lining and I ironed it down, so you can see how neat it looks inside. So after holding it down with your gum, go ahead and turn it inside out. So this is what I have. So guys, you can see what it looks like inside. My hemming gum is just holding the lining piece down, so it's not showing outside. The lining is not showing outside at all. So the next thing I'll do is to fix my boning. So like I said before, the boning I'll be using is 1/4 inch, which is half of half an inch, and I made sure that the space that I have in this star line is enough for this boning to pass through. So I'll go ahead and measure like this, making sure that the length of the boning does not reach the base of this top, okay, because this is not a sewable boning. So I'll be leaving like 1 inch on the base of the top. Okay, so I'll go ahead and fix my boning inside all these channels. After doing that, guys, this is what I have. You can see that it's standing. So what I'm going to do is to iron so that the boning stays flat. Okay, I'll go ahead and use my hot iron to flatten the boning. So guys, after ironing, this is what I have, guys. So the next thing I'm going to do is to fold my fabric over like this, and I'm going to sew the base all the way around. The only place I'm not going to sew is the zipper area. That is where I'm going to use to turn everything inside out. So I'll go ahead and pin, I'll sew all the way around, and I'll go ahead and turn it inside out. So guys, after sewing my lining piece in place, this is what I have. The last thing I did was to go ahead and insert my zipper. I could not do the sleeves on camera because my battery died, but I just did a regular puff sleeves and I just tacked it to the armhole area of this top. I'm really sorry about that. Okay, yeah, that brings us to the end of this tutorial. I hope it was helpful. Please don't forget to like this video, leave your questions in the comment section. I'll see you in the next one.